Good evening. My name is Gwen. Today is Saturday, July the 15th, 2017, and it's about 9:36 p.m. I want to talk about Brother Polite this time. And my notes are Brother Polite was with a white woman. He never fooled me. Due diligence. He never said some of the conscious things people attribute to him. He was all about making money and how to get it, and that's what he spoke and talked about. And that I am sorry that you were fooled and surprised, but sometimes we need to take responsibility when we bring things on ourselves. So let's talk about the first topic. Brother Polite was with the white woman. Okay. Apparently, he was launching some kind of fashion industry based on African patterns. And the picture that I saw was with a white lady, curvy blonde, with a mini dress, a scantily clad mini dress with a kente cloth like pattern on this tight mini skirt. And now, if I'm not mistaken, kente cloth is really a ritual, sacred kind of cloth for specific things. And it's long since been appropriated. When you see some tennis shoes in the dollar store for little kids with a kente cloth like pattern, you know that that's been appropriated. But then some things are just tacky and tasteless. And that was one of it. It was tasteless because it was an African pattern. But anyway, he's got this big spiel and sales pitch that's manipulative and silly. But that's not my real point. My point about this is I'm not surprised. What I am surprised is about how surprised you are some of the people that are speaking. And so I thought I would just voice some thoughts on that. So yeah, it was blasphemy, literally, and yeah, for blasphemy. So him to have this white lady in this kenny cloth outfit, and with him having four black wives. I don't know where they are these days, but it looks like he might be having an affair with this white lady. And people are surprised that he's doing these sort of things. But if you really look back at his history, nothing about him would surprise you. And that's what I'm saying, that I never thought he would do anything else. When I saw him, I think a bunch of years ago, him and Sonetta, and I think at the time the Sarah Seti and some of the other ones, I think it was even before the one and once or twice when Dr. Umar Johnson was around Sonetta. That was a very short-lived event when Dr. Umar Johnson was fooling with Sonetta. That was really short, very short-lived. But Polite would be there, but he wouldn't say conscious things. He would talk about black businesses and he would talk about black business empowerment. But he was never talking about black consciousness. He was focusing on black business as far as I was concerned. At least that was what I was hearing between the lines of what he was saying. He was always talking about business and he was always talking about teaching how to get more money in real estate. I think it was real estate and some of the other things he was talking about. But I never saw him as somebody who was about black consciousness and up and pro-black and moving ahead. He was talking about business. He was, in my mind, always a businessman. He reminds me of those real estate people who write the book about how to make money buying houses and basically flipping them. And it was, I think that started back in the 70s and 80s when you buy these houses at low price and then make a lot of money on them. And anyway, they were selling books and things like that, but they never panned out for nobody but the person who was selling the book. And essentially you were making your money because you were selling books, not because you were flipping real estate. But apparently he was pretty good at the real estate thing, and he did make some money, and he got a good following, and he did have people teaching, and he did was offering his insights and advice until I think a few years ago things blew up because products weren't being delivered. And as I looked at and listened to what people were saying about the product, they want the book that they were supposed to get, or the this or that they were supposed to get. And I was thinking, well, what's the problem? All you got to do is mail them a draft. I mean, mail them a ebook. Get their email address and just download a PDF version of your book and just send it to them. They got their book in their hand, and that was the main thing. Because I thought it was stupid, because he could still make good on whatever things they were having a problem with them not getting, because all he had to do was deliver it, and it looked like it was next to nothing, next to no effort to deliver. So I thought that whole thing was stupid, or else I was missing stuff. But he never fooled me. I never thought of him as conscious or black conscious. He never once fooled me. I don't even know why you were fooled, because there was nothing about him that was black conscious as far as I was concerned. So I'm not surprised he's with the white lady in a little kente dress. That makes money, and that's what I always thought of his focus was money. I think that because he was surrounded by strongly conscious people who were saying conscious things, and he was standing up on the stage or whatever, nodding and being supportive of them, that they attribute some of the things said to him. But he wasn't never saying all that stuff. Not like that. Not like the strong conscious community were. And I'm using the term conscious community because that's what it called itself then. And this conscious community still exists, but it's not what it was. And that was because this is of the leader. I might do a second recording about the leader of the part of the conscious community that I saw, and that's Sonetta. I might talk about him a little bit, because I think he's got a potential that he could do some things, some great things, but he can't gotta get out of his own way. Okay, so I never heard him say a lot of conscious things. And matter of fact, I never, honestly, beyond the first few weeks or so, I didn't really listen to a lot of whatever Polite was saying, because it was always focused on money, and I wasn't focused on that because I didn't feel like money is the total answer. It's got to take a holistic approach. We got to get money, social control, love control, spiritual control, everything is holistic. But he was focused on the money aspect. I was more focused on the other aspects at that time. And I certainly wasn't going to go into real estate. So I wasn't focused on what he was saying. But I don't think he ever did say a lot of conscious stuff. Okay, so he did. He talked about money, and I'm also sorry that you were fooled or surprised. And this is where I want to talk about due diligence, because sometimes we bring things on ourselves and we have to take responsibility for that. I don't think you were ever really listening to what Polite said, because I'm surprised that you're surprised. So if we really listen to what sometimes these leaders are saying and hear what their priorities are between the lines, we could probably read them pretty well. And I'm gonna use this because I'm almost done with the Polite part of it. So I'm gonna use this to talk about Sonnet in a few minutes. And so that's why I'm saying we need to take responsibility and do due diligence. What the word due diligence, the way I'm using is this. You ever, like get ready to get something insured, like you're gonna get apartment insurance or something like that. And I'm not sure the wording, it varies from contract to contract, but they do talk about you doing what you can to prevent the loss. They talk about you taking steps to make sure that you did your minimum to prevent your goods from being lost for whatever reason. Like you can't walk outside and leave your front door wide open and your gate open and then file a claim because you didn't do your due diligence about, like walk outside, get on the bus and go to work, leaving your front door open, wide open, and then you come home and stuff is gone. Okay, if you tell them you did that, they will have trouble paying you because according to their contract, you did not offer due diligence to prevent the loss. So That's what I'm saying about due diligence. We didn't listen to what he actually said or listen between the lines and looked at how he lived versus what we thought he we were hearing. We didn't listen to what we were actually hearing. And what we were actually hearing was that he never was about a conscious community and all this black enlightenment and stuff, pro black or black first stuff. He never was. He was always a money person. So take responsibility for that, and then when you take responsibility, you can learn to prevent, because now you know that what you did wrong and you acknowledge what you did wrong, and therefore you can not do that again and take a step to prevent that from ever happening again. So sometimes we need to take responsibility when we bring things on ourselves, even when you didn't bring it on yourself, even when there was nothing you could have done to prevent it. Take responsibility for it so that you can control it. Once my as here's an example. Once piece of equipment broke in my car motor, and I got it fixed, but it was a piece of equipment that was that you can't foresee. But I said I let my so and so get broke, da da da. And then my cousin said, but you couldn't control that. And I said, but I'm gonna take responsibility for it so I can prevent that, do what I have to do to prevent that from happening again. So that is, if I got take it to the shop and can see take my car to the shop before I take a long trip, I can probably prevent that and nip that in the bud before it becomes a big problem. I didn't take it to the shop, I just took off on my long trip. But if I had took it to the shop, perhaps they could have saw that problem before it occurred. Okay, things like that. All these little steps you probably could have taken had you known the outcome before it happened. But taking responsibility, even if it's not your fault, helps that for you to control it, because then that way you got the outcome in your hands. Okay, so that's what I mean by taking up responsibility. Now we'll talk about Sonetta for a few minutes. I stopped watching him some time ago because I looked at what his focus was. And although he says the words conscious community, his focus is about money and power. The reason why I say that is this. Early on, when he was with the general and all of them, and they were putting on their PowerPoints and their shows and the seminars and the debates, it was great. It was a meeting of minds and a thing of beauty. But he had to do this little twist and that little twist and that little tweak, and just had to grab a little more each time, just a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit nastier, a little bit more backstabbing, a little bit more crooked. And that's what I mean by can't get out your own way. If even right now they have that. It's no longer a beef, it's a foregone conclusion. A beef is when it's back and forth. This is a done deal. Even when they were having his last problem, that basically everybody that blew up in his face, really, and because he was wrong and doing wrong, but he couldn't stop himself. If they had just went straight forward with that debate, I think it was in Brooklyn. If they had done that, he would have made so much money and had such good reputation, but he couldn't do it. But what some of the things that people haven't figured out that I thought about was that he probably saved lives by being crooked on that. What do I mean? If all the people there were hyped up and ready to see a debate, and then young Pharaoh showed up and the probation officers nabbed him, I think that the people who wanted to see him would probably react, and it probably wouldn't have been pretty. I think the police probably would have started shooting, and I think that they probably would have got shot back because these are powerful people with powerful emotions, and these are some black people who probably very likely would have fought back because these were alpha males up in there, strong personalities, people who were taking the streets back. These are people who were aggressive enough, I think, to shoot back at police. So I think that The spirits work in mysterious ways. I think that little crooked nonsense he did probably saved lives because young Pharaoh and the general didn't show up. They went and did another venue. They didn't do it. Like even when they were trying to find another venue to have it at, and that guy that was supposed to be having it for him with them at that other venue, I even knew he was gonna back out because I was listening to him. He was not, I mean, the people that were close to the problem probably couldn't see it, but I could see it as I listened between the lines at him. I know he wasn't. I said, y'all got to make sure he shows up, because he don't sound like he's too committed. Although he's saying the words, it's the body language of his voice wasn't sounding committed. He was sounding like he had one foot out the door, and sure enough, he did back out. And so they had to stream a different way. But what I'm happy about is that the people who would have tried to get nab young Pharaoh weren't there. I mean, weren't able to. And so I'm not sure he was actually in town or not because I wasn't there, but he was where he was supposed to be when the people came to his door to see if he was home, from what I understand. So he was where he was supposed to be. So there's no real nothing saying that he wasn't where he was supposed to be. And I'm glad. But I'm honestly thinking that if he had us shown up there and everything would have, probably could have blown up. And I think people would have died that day. Not all of them conscious people and not all of them unconscious people. Some innocents would have probably got killed because it was a very emotional, hyped up thing at that time. Now, the reason why I say Sinetta can get out of his own way if he can just get a little bit of control of himself, he would be able to be a force in the community that would be like none other. Because I seen his work. I seen what he did with his own hand, and he does spectacular work. When he sits down at his computer and put on his platform and his show and his intro, and the quality of his work is spectacular. It is right up there with stuff that you see right now on network TV, if not better than some of the things on network TV, because some of his things are that good. Now, would it be great if he would use his platform to introduce people on the fringes where they can get a voice and say what they have to say? He can be a mentor and a coach for them. He don't quote their words, but quotes their presentation. But if he does do this, he's got to have all things outlined completely so that there would be no surprises. And he can't, for heaven's sake, try to get somebody's intellectual property. Everything that you do has got to be all things that you owe and bills are paid right then and there. Okay, because you can't be stabbing and leeching off of folk, but you can have a platform for new people and get all kind of stuff going. That would be spectacular because that was a lot of people were introduced that way. I used to watch him for a while because I liked the pills, red pill, blue pill. But even they left, and I think red pill, blue pill, or one of the pills, was telling him what he thought of him behind the scenes, as he should, as a man should, rather than posting. But finally, I think one of the pills left him alone too. And so, but he's got a chance to really do spectacular stuff. Now, about what was my first clue about Sonetta was early on was when him and the general were having their debates and things, and out on the corners and on the streets talking, which was a beautiful thing to behold. But one of the things he bragged about was he said a phrase called "I made the white man kiss my feet." And that was a flag to me. That was a flag. That was a trigger. I looked at that. I saw that. And I said, okay, he's bragging about making the white man kiss his feet. That means he's looking at power rather than purpose. Okay, he's bragging about something that shows power. Plus, it also let me know that he's susceptible to flattery and ingratiate mode. White men will kiss you anything they want you to They will kiss anything you want them to kiss while they're in ingratiate mode. That is, they trying to get closer to you. If you are susceptible to falling for that, you can't be of benefit to anybody in the community because you're not really focused on what you need to be focused on. You're focused on the power. They'll grovel till their faces fall off. As long as they are benefiting white society, they'll pretend like they're not, and you'll be fooled to believe them. But if you're susceptible to that, you gonna fall because that's not what you got to be focused on. And so that was the first flag for me. That was when I got suspicious. But everybody else is good. I'm good. Okay. Then I think he finally said one time, he said he made the Jew boy kiss my feet. And I said, uh-huh. And sure enough, that came out that he was, focused on power and other nastiness. But he don't have to be. That's why I'm saying you can make more money doing it the right way than you can sneaking and cheating. People want to do it. That people were ready. But if you're going to be sneaking and cheating and got to tweak it here and tweak it there and get a little bit more here and a little bit more there, you're going to lose it all. So I hope that he wises up and prays with himself or whatever he's got to do, or meditates or something, so he can get that out of him and then do it fairly, and he could take off and be beautiful. It'll be beautiful if he can just be fair. I'm hoping for him. I'm rooting for him because I do see real talent there. I've seen some of his things, that he did, and I said, "Wow!" I said that with my mouth open, because it was that good. I like the little silly song and I do call him a little silly song, but that his intro and all this stuff. He's got so much talent that he brings, and then he mess it up because he can't be fair. Now, if he works on that, he's got it going on. But you know, as that's what I say about him. That's all I say about him. So let me see. Yeah, I covered everything I need to cover on this one. It's good. I think I got 10 more minutes to talk, so let me go ahead and do a quick one on um yeah, okay. What I think about the Dr. Umar Johnson thing, I loved that interview with Roland Martin and the Breakfast, not the Breakfast Club, but the people, Roland Martin, his panel versus Dr. Umar. I think that that brought it all the way back home what he's working for. And I haven't donated because, well, I don't want to, not yet. He doesn't want my money because heaven knows I'm gonna give $5 and then I want a dossier, a spreadsheet, cost account list. He don't want my money. He don't want my little old $5 because I gotta have everything. I want all. Yeah, it costs you about $20 even show me everything, and I'm joking, but I probably would donate. But I want, but not only do I like the idea of the school, I want to go to the school. I ain't got no kids, but I could use that education that he's talking about. I want to go. What I would like to see happen is that he open it for adults to have online classes that we can pay. Because that school, it sounds like a beautiful school. I like his principles. I like his speeches. I like everything about what he says. I ain't got no problem with what nothing Dr. Umar says. I don't have nothing about a problem with anything he did. That thing when he went on the rant against the general, I knew that he snapped, and at that time I said he needs different friends because I think his friends kept fooling with him and pushing and pushing. Then he finally snapped and he went on that. And I said, he's going to be embarrassed at himself after he's finished that because that's not him. And that's basically what I said. I looked at that face and I said, that is not him. That is not what he does. But everybody snaps. And I think, and soon after that, he saw himself and saw how he looked. And he realized that that wasn't a good look. So that was, but I knew that was happening. Everybody has those moments, no matter where you are. I'm sorry that he alienated people, and if it, sorry, and if certain people are still alienated, then that's, rightly so. Stay alienated until you feel comfortable coming back. You know, but as far as the school and the vision goes, I'm all for it. I would like to see online classes for adults so that we can pay our money and take those classes, because I don't see no problem with them. In fact, and beyond that, I would like to see a all black scholars that are in the pro black and black first movement, and I want to say pro black slash black first movement. I would like to see some certification processes so that that is our own certification process where we have people that are recognized by their peers at being a certain level in the movement, in the thinking. So a lot of these people that are pro black but are speakers don't have college degrees, and they won't get a college degree because they're not speaking things that college says. This stuff that we see, that I'm seeing here, is not in any college. You might see some of that in a black studies class, but you won't get a degree in it unless you got teachers that are strongly pro-black. And I know some, and I know that Pan African Studies is strong in all of that. But some of them don't have time to go to school, and they don't want to go to school. I don't blame them, because you don't need to. But I would like to see some kind of certification class or a ranking that's everybody agrees on, so we can know where we stand when we look at them, like you're certified by so and so, or you have this award or that award, and it's a ranking. Like some people that are in this are at PhD level in any other topic. In either context, this is PhD level work I'm seeing. Some of them. They do that much research. They're bringing that much new information. And that's phenomenal. And some of these people are self-taught. And I think that that kind of thinking and needs to be recognized by some kind of certification process that we make as black people. Okay, that's all I got right here, and it's right at about 30 minutes, and I'm happy. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Bye bye.